Hello and welcome to another fun-filled edition of Adam's Music Box, where today it's all about Al Martino, one of my absolute favorite singers of all time. Now, Al Martino's specialty is what we today call classic pop. At the time, it was just called pop or vocal pop, and he was in the same league as people like Vic Damone, Perry Como, who was someone he actually listened to growing up, Sinatra, Bobby Darin, Dean Martin, the great singers of the mid 20th century, when sort of pure vocal pop music with very sophisticated arrangements was the go-to genre for people that were standing next to a jukebox, next to their stereo, turning on the radio. AM radio would have been for much of that time. And he's got one of those voices where it's, I call it a phone book voice, because he could sing the phone book and it sounds good. But there were many hits that he sung that he really made his own. I would say his version of Spanish Eyes is the quintessential version of that song. He did, I think, the best version of I've Gotta Be Me. And of course, he did Speak Softly, My Love, which was a vocal version of the theme from The Godfather, which was also his first major entry into the world of acting. He played the role of Johnny Fontaine, a singer, and of course, he was a singer, and Johnny was Italian. Al obviously was Italian. And so there was, as there always is in the film industry, there was some interesting stories about that role, which you can read about. But suffice it to say, in both the first and second Godfather, he played it marvelously. And that helped him to sell more records in the 70s, even as the sort of classic pop genre was giving way to more of a rock idiom dominating the pop world. But he even had a disco hit with his own unique Italian take on the classic Volare, made famous originally by Dean Martin. Not all of his albums are on the streaming services, which hopefully can be rectified. A lot of them are, and there's some damn good compilations that are on there too. I mean, all of his big singles, he did, I think, one of the best versions of Can't Help Falling in Love. Spanish Eyes is on there. Somewhere My Love, wonderful stuff. Um, and you should definitely take a dive into it. And you realize this guy was a great singer. He also did one of my favorite Christmas songs, but we won't talk about that unless you want to watch my video on my favorite Christmas songs from the end of 2024. Now, why have I got this picture of his family behind me? Well, his daughter over there, or over there. Yeah, I don't know how these cameras work. She's quite an interesting person in her own right. She's got a website, a big social media profile, and television documentaries based around her brand called Vintage Los Angeles. And this is all about sort of the architectural and cultural and quirky and interesting history of LA, much of it revolving around the great artists, musicians, actors, producers, architects, you name it, that she met through her father, who was, of course, a music artist. And it's a really interesting thing, even if you don't know or care about LA, if you know about culture from that sort of 20th century period and want to see some of the interesting sights and sounds and people, I would definitely check her out at Vintage LA. Really interesting stuff. She's Alison Martino, and Al even did a wonderful song about her, which you can see online. So I really like that because without sort of directly following in the footsteps of being a classic pop singer, she's keeping that cultural legacy going and doing some really, really great work, really fun stuff. So definitely check her out as well. The legacy continues. As always, like, subscribe, and we will see you next time. Take care.